Welcome to the We Are Wake Tech podcast with your host, Wake Tech President, Dr. Scott Ralls.
Hello, and welcome to the We Are Wake Tech podcast. I'm your host, Scott Ralls, and today we're at Memorial Hall at the Public Safety Campus here at Wake Tech Community College. So excited to have Jamie Wicker, the Provost for all our public safety programs, joining us today to tell us about what is a very big part of Wake Tech, which is public safety, a very big role we have. Jamie, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here at Wake Tech and on your podcast.
Well, we're excited to have you both. And before we get started into talking about public safety at Wake Tech, let's talk a little bit first about Jamie Wicker. You're a very unique person, both for our college and our community, your role. Talk a little bit about your history and how you got to Wake Tech.
Well, I've told you before, this is my dream job. I'm so excited to be in this role at Wake Tech and be somewhere that is large enough to have such a unique role and unique position. So I'm from North Carolina, and so I have had a lot of opportunity to train at Wake Tech and be familiar with Wake Tech. I have a background in public safety. I'm a police officer. I've been a sworn police officer for more than 19 years now, several years full-time. I was a detective. I was a school resource officer. I've been on patrol. I've been a deputy sheriff. And so that's how I first got into public safety. I started teaching and training through in-service and curriculum, and I also am a volunteer firefighter and an EMT. So I have a lot of experience with public safety. I've previously worked at other community colleges, and this is just perfect. I love it so much because it's two of my passions, which is public safety and education. And so I have the perfect niche. I really, really love my job here, but public safety is something that's in my blood.
Well, you have a unique background for what is a very unique role here. I mean, you said you've had the law enforcement, deputy sheriff, multiple roles in law enforcement, fire service, EMT. It's kind of what that movie said. Who are you going to call? Jamie Wicker. You can pretty much anything.
We got
related.
you.
You got us covered. So, well, Wake Tech, I love Wake Tech, and people know that who listen to this podcast. Is such a unique college. But what makes us also very unique is our role with public safety. Mm-hmm. I have heard it said, so I assume it's true, that we may be the largest public safety education provider in North Carolina, or certainly one of the largest. And we could spend the whole podcast talking mm-hmm. about all the things we do in public safety, but knowing that we don't have all day, tell us a little bit, the audience, about what happens at public safety at Wake campus, here at the public safety campus, but then broadly throughout Wake County and through Wake Tech.
Sure. So we are CALEA accredited, which is...
Now, what does that mean? CALEA accredited, because that's important, right? But right. What does that mean?
It's Commission for Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies. And so it's a nationally, internationally recognized certification. They will tell you they're the gold standard for accreditation on law enforcement agencies, but they also have a component for training academies. And we're the first community college to be actually CALEA accredited as an academy.
Now, when you say first in North Carolina, first in the U.S., first?
Certainly first in North Carolina as a community college. There are other training academies that are CALEA accredited, but they belong to departments. So the department is CALEA accredited, and their training is also a part of that CALEA accreditation.
So Wake Tech, other than just its scale, is unique in its capabilities through that accreditation.
Exactly. And so the accreditation is very prestigious. It's difficult to obtain, and it's very labor intensive to maintain. So we have about 160 standards that are separate and apart from our training and standards requirements and our OSFM requirements, our OEMS requirements, SAC-COC requirements. In addition, we have about 160 other requirements that we have to consistently not just strive for, but prove that we meet. And they evaluate us annually for reaccreditation every 4 years. So that means a lot to our stakeholders because they know that what we do at Wake Tech, we do it right, we do it well, we do it transparently, and we lead the way, but we also absolutely are always looking at how do we meet all these standards and exceed these standards. So that symbol of CALEA accreditation in our training means a lot to our stakeholders. They understand that they are getting not just great training, but they're getting additional layers of training, certification, documentation along with that, which helps them if they're CLIA accredited or if they just need to prove that the training occurred in a specific way. We also do curriculum classes here. So we have the criminal justice program for credit for students.
Degree program.
Right, degree programs. We do public safety administration, and we do criminal justice forensic science here. And then we have some other workforce classes such as barbering and HVAC and nurse aid. But what we really do is public safety. We have a range in this building, a live fire shooting range. We have a courtroom. We have a simunition room where you can arrange the walls and you can change the dynamics. We have scat rooms. We have a firearms training simulator. We very, very commonly will have tactical teams here. We're known at Wake Tech for not just offering classes that are the minimum that we're required to do, but we offer tactical classes, we offer specialty classes, we offer hands-on classes, we offer legal classes, we offer drones for public safety with a very specific niche. And so we're kind of known as the school of yes. So people call us and say, can you bring this really specific person to talk about this really specific topic that's emerging? And we will say, yes, we can. We will make that happen. We work in concert with our fire training service very well. They are extensive partners of ours, not just Wake County Fire Services and the not-for-profit or other departments, but the municipalities as well. We work with Raleigh, we work with Raleigh Police Department. We work with agencies that have their own training arm and their own training grounds to be force multipliers for them so that they can make their budget go as far as possible. And that is an outstanding marriage for us here.
And, you mentioned stakeholders. And so I think that's unique within the public safety part of what we do. Much of what we do in public safety is in the in-service training. It's more so the types of in-service training, which is very important for public safety. It's also, you have to hit very high standards. You mentioned all the accreditations, but can you talk a little bit about who are the stakeholders? Because I know that's a big part of your role, is interacting with the stakeholders of our community and our region in public safety.
Absolutely. I love to talk about our stakeholders and our partners. I just realized I forgot to tell you that we run academies here. So we have basic law enforcement training, we have EMT academies, we have paramedic academy, and then we also have fire training academies.
We'll come back and talk about some of those.
Thank you. I didn't want to forget those. So our stakeholders, in the community college world, we always talk about working with industry and working with the workforce. That there are so many layers of how we envision our partners and stakeholders here in public safety. So stakeholders are our students, our communities, our partner agencies, and each from a different lens. So we want our students to be successful, and we want them to know that this is the field for them or it isn't prior to getting into it and then making a decision, and they've spent a lot of time and energy into that. We want our community to feel that we are investing in the community for good training. So if you look anywhere across Wake County, you can see so much growth and so many opportunities for training, because what people don't always think about until it affects them is however many calls for service public safety has in a year, whether it's fire, police, or EMS, whatever that call is, we may have never seen it before, but the public expects you to get it right 100% of the time, whether you're a volunteer, whether you're part-time, or whether you've been 20 years on the job. And that's fair. That's a fair expectation. So we step in that space at Wake Tech by constantly trying to be out front of all of these industries and saying, what are you seeing? What do you need? How can we create a scenario-based, realistic training environment that allows you to train this as if it's real time? And if we make mistakes here, we can work through them here so that when you respond to the public, you can get it right. And we can start to have more tools in the toolbox for what that situation looks like and how they can address it. And then we have state, local, and federal agencies that we work with consistently. We work with Department of Public Safety. We work with Probation and Parole. We work with what used to be called Department of Corrections. We work with, it's not uncommon that I'll get calls from commissioners with Training and Standards Commission, or people with Office of State Fire Marshal, Office of OEMS, and not just me, but my team. We are really a resource, and people call frequently and say, we're having this kind of issue and we're not really sure how to fix it. Can you help us fix it? Can you help us determine what kind of leading or lagging factors we need to look at to determine where our data is and what we need to do? So I think that's really unique to Wake Tech, because we have so much support in the community, but we also have so much support through you and through the resources that we have at Wake Tech, that it allows us to be able to look into almost a futurist space, to say we're seeing some trending along this nationally. We've seen some stories about this. Let's go ahead and try to be proactive, and let's pull some people along with us. But we cannot exist here without that industry involvement, and without thinking, what does the community expect? What does a firefighter need to do? What does a police officer need to do? What does the FBI agent need to know?
Yeah.
How do we get there?
Well, I think too at Wake Tech, and you certainly exhibit this, there's such a respect for the public safety community, the law enforcement community, the fire service, the emergency medical community. I mean, you come from the community, so obviously, but for those of us who, get to be involved through public safety, it's a great honor for us. And one of my favorite days here is when we have our big barbecue, where we serve all of the public safety and everyone comes in. But even on a normal day, I love pulling up at public safety campus, and you'll see, like a day like today, there are several state trooper cars, and you'll see police cars from multiple different parts of the county. And if I pulled up into any other campus, I'd be nervous. But when I pull up here and I see all the different partner vehicles here, I know it's a normal day at public safety campus, and that's the way it should be. You talked about in-service training, and that's probably the training aspect of what we do is such a big part of here. And a lot of that is with our partners. I mean, they're very much not just our partners, but they also make up a lot of our faculty who are here. Can you talk a little bit about that role?
I would love to. We have such an incredible team here at Wake Tech, and public safety specifically. And when you think about public safety, you think about, what I think about is people who go to work every day and you don't know what your day is going to be.
Absolutely.
And you're prepared for it, though, and you do it humbly, and you do it to the best of your ability. And that's no different from the team that we have here. So the people who work here as faculty and staff, instructors, coordinators, directors, they are all those kind of people, and they all have had very impressive careers in their chosen field. And many of them are known as experts statewide, regionally, and some nationally. We have national experts who work with us. I'm not going to call any names, but we have people on our staff who are like world title holders for things that they do that they give away here, that we teach, and people know that. They know that by reputation. So we have people who are retired across multiple fields. We have people who have won, world titles. We have people who have won governor's awards. Everybody here is not just an expert in the field by education, but also by practice. So it's such a unique marriage. Our team is so highly regarded. I love coming to work. I tell them all the time, I love that you guys let me hang around you. It's so much fun. So whatever someone needs, and people know this, we have a team here where people can call us and say, hey, do you have somebody who can help me learn to shoot better on this really specific weapon system so that I can transition differently? Absolutely. We got people that can do that. Hey, we just saw this thing on the news, and some of the fact pattern is a little bit messy, and if that happened here, that might be a little tough for us. Can we set up some scenarios where our SWAT team can train it? Absolutely, we can help you with that. And people know that they can call us. So we have people who have, just incredible credentials and careers in law enforcement, in fire, in EMS. They teach in our classrooms. They also come and take classes here. So I take classes here still.
Don't you got to keep up your
That's right. You got to keep up your certifications, and we all do. So we have to keep up our certifications. So you may see us in a classroom, and then you may see us, running a class. We may be a student. I've certainly participated in things.
Yeah, you got to be down there on the range every once in a while.
Absolutely, which is the best part of this building. I love it.
Well, and so you talked a little bit too. So there's this in-service training, the training that goes on. You mentioned the academies, and you said paramedic, fire service and basic law enforcement training. And those are important because academies mean, right, the formal entry into the career.
Yes.
And perhaps you could share a little bit about that. What are we always have, I think we have coming up the BLET graduation, which is always one of my favorite, what happens multiple times throughout the year. Maybe you could share with folks what is BLET? What happens here that's pure BLET training? Because that is so important, something that happens at Wake Tech, just as an example of one of the 3 academies.
Sure. I'd love to talk about BLET. And so BLET is basic law enforcement training. And that is law enforcement certification in the state of North Carolina is accredited by the Department of Justice Training and Standards Commission. So there's one for criminal justice, and there's one for which is police, and there's one through sheriffs. So anybody who's going to be a deputy sheriff and work at a sheriff's office. Basic law enforcement training is designed to prepare anyone who has zero knowledge, zero level, to go work at either a police department or a sheriff's office. So we meet both standards successfully. And so we really start at that very baseline. Hey, I don't really know much about this except I know I want to do it. And you're ready to go to the field. Many of our students are hired when they come to us, and if they're not, almost always they're hired by the time we graduate. So basic law enforcement training at this point is 640-ish required hours by the state. What we do
Pretty
is
intense hours too.
Very intense, day, night. We do PT, we do classroom. You know, we wear uniforms. They wear a vest every day. They wear a duty belt. They wear a blue gun, a training gun, and that's to prepare them for getting ready. When you get in the field, you already know what it feels like to wear that.
It's the closest thing to boot camp we have.
It is, and I mean, we do things that involve discipline and routine and schedule and esprit de corps and teamwork. We also have a legal component that we have the best of the best. We have subject matter experts doing crowd control. We do hands-on training. You do handcuffing, and then we put it all together. You know, okay, so in your legal block, you learned that you can handcuff somebody in this particular set of circumstances, in this particular set of circumstances. And in your scenario that we just gave you on a traffic stop, you handcuffed this person. Why did you do that? What other options could you have done? And we do an extensive talk through and debrief so that we're really layering that knowledge for students so that it's not just, I can do this, but not just can you, but should you? And why did you? And can you explain that? And can you explain why you didn't consider another option? And we not only do 640 required hours, but we add many things on top of that. We add Officer Survival 1, Officer Survival 2. We're very fortunate to have a wonderful relationship with people who can do that type of high-level tactical training. We add ground fighting and grappling, which part of that's in there, but we are really looking at what are things that officers are getting hurt. Mm-hmm. To that end, we also add a lot of mental health training for the officers. This is a tough profession. Yeah. It's a tough time to enter it. Here are some things you need to know now, and we try to model that. So we are very involved with them. We want them to be successful. Our goal is that before they get out of the academy, they know, I love this or I don't. And I tell them, hey, this is the place that we're going to push you and try to make you uncomfortable. It's not because we want you to quit. It's because you will be uncomfortable in the street by yourself when somebody is in your face yelling at you. And if we have never been in your face yelling at you, we've done you a disservice, because that's not the time that you should feel, that adrenaline's up and go, oh, what do I do? Yeah. You should have some tools by that point. So we all, everybody who teaches in our BLET, we all have been in the positions that we're teaching them to be in, and we know what we wish we had, and we try to really reach back and pull them forward from the benefit of all the experience of our careers.
So it sounds like when you leave us in one of the academies, when you go from here, your next step's going to be on a call, whether that's fire or paramedic or law enforcement, and hopefully the experiences you've had here prepare you for that next call and all your future calls.
Absolutely. Recently, we had a fire academy graduation. We run that fire academy in partnership with the county, and I had the wonderful privilege to participate in that. So there was a house that was donated, and we burned a house as a live burn as kind of a capstone for that fire academy, and I got invited to attend and was able to attend. So the last thing they're doing, literally the day before graduation, is we're working an active house fire.
You put a house fire out.
Exactly. And then the next time you go to work,
that's what
you might be going to a house fire.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So we've covered a lot of ground. And then you mentioned, we have 3 degrees, like our 2-year associate degrees, criminal justice, forensic science, and a new one. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the new one, which is public safety administration. Why the new public safety administration degree, and what does that provide for students?
Sure. I love talking about our public safety administration degree. Public safety administration degree was essentially born out of a necessity for people who have some sort of background in public safety, but maybe it's EMS, for example. As a paramedic, maybe you don't want to ride a truck for your whole career. Maybe you want to move into some sort of an emergency management role, or you need to move into more of an administrative leadership role where you're not doing as much hands-on. But in the paramedic curriculum and in the paramedic world, you're learning about patient care, pre-hospital patient care. And so you're learning all of your extensive training is about how to better take care of patients pre-hospital. Maybe it's critical care, maybe it's peds, maybe it's a different population, different type of care. So there wasn't really a place, even if you had a paramedic degree, that you really learned about grant writing and budgeting and supervision and leadership across public safety. Because as you get higher in the public safety world, the more you interface with the other groups. So emergency management, law enforcement, we work together. But if you don't know how they work, or you don't understand how budgets work, then you are a little bit underprepared for that. So the public safety administration degree is designed to help people who want to move into leadership. It's really designed to take some industry experience and give you credit for prior learning. And that's what I'm most excited about, because there are things that Department of Public Safety or Office of State Fire Marshal or OEMS would award as a credential that you could not get through a community college. An example is corrections officer training. No community college deploys that. So people would have their version of basic academy,
right,
but it is specifically deployed through Department of Public Safety. So people would have an academy behind them, and we didn't recognize that academy because we didn't teach it anywhere.
Yeah.
So we didn't know how to make that equate, but we do through Public Safety Administration. So we can give credit for EMT, for paramedic, for OSFM firefighter certifications, and give them almost like an advanced standing in that career. And that works well, because Public Safety Administration focuses, you've been in this a little bit, and now you want to transition into more of a leadership role.
And what you're talking about, I use this phrase a lot, everybody hears it so much, laddering, and that's kind of what you're talking about, because
exactly.
You can take that previous educational training opportunity, ladder it into us, but then you can also ladder beyond us with public safety, criminal justice, to our 4-year partners.
Yes, and we do have an articulation agreement already in place for Public Safety Administration to NC State. We have another one.
Which is unique. That's a unique partnership.
It is a unique partnership. We have another one that we're getting ready to sign with, or you're getting ready to sign with Fayetteville State. Mm-hmm. And I've been working with NCA&T to move into some things that we're really, really excited about at a graduate level.
Yeah.
To connect from today I'm a EMT to, you can just start at Wake Tech and we can get you all the way through graduate with a specialty focus.
I can feel it, rung to rung to rung.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift just a little bit. So one thing about Wake Tech is, for a college, it's unique in North Carolina. I think we're the only college with a separate public safety campus that I know of. But we're unique nationally. You mentioned the CALIA accreditation and all, but we're getting ready to really double down too. That's going to make us even more unique, and that's our new investments that are taking place at our new Eastern campus in Wendell, which will have a huge public safety role. Can you tell us what's going to happen out there when people drive up and down 87 right now? You can look out and see some steel going up and a lot of dirt being turned over. But there's going to be some exciting things happening in the public safety world with both the rescue center and also the rescue training area. But the simulation facility is very, very unique for any community. So tell us what's that going to be?
I can't stop smiling while you're talking about it. I don't know if you noticed, I'm so excited about this, and our partners are excited as well. So we are really, really fortunate that you guys have put this investment together. You got our community investing in us.
And we say, you guys, let's think, anybody who's listening to this podcast who's a resident of Wake County, you were the folks who made this happen.
That's right.
When you wonder where the bond money goes, it's going to, a great example here, training all the public safety folks in our region to respond in a better way for our community in the future.
So let me tell you, and I know you know this, but for the folks who are listening and watching, they may not know this. In general, the way that I view the community college for public safety, we can offer fee waiver classes. Well, that is because I tell people we are the public safety training academy for the state and the community college system.
And what that means is if you're in public safety, you don't have to pay for your training.
You don't have to pay.
The state for that sector covers it.
You don't have to pay tuition if you're getting advanced training or required training in your particular field, in your particular discipline. So we are able to move into a training space that it helps with staffing because they don't have to send people far away. It doesn't cost them training budget like they would if they were to get these trainings other places. What is so exciting about the campus that we're building and the public safety footprint that we're going to have is we are able to incorporate things that you see in the real world in a really intentional way. So we've been looking at how we're going to do multi-level, multidisciplinary, large-scale training events. So when you see mass casualty incidents on the news, this new campus is going to allow us to simulate that, not once or twice, but ongoing. We're going to have a driving pad. We're going to be able to look at some buildings out there that simulate what downtown Raleigh looks like, what downtown Cary or Holly Springs is going to look like, what a lot of places are looking at through growth. And it's indoors. So one of the things about this training space that is so unique is, and I don't know a single place in North Carolina that has something like this. The military has some type of a similar footprint, but not nearly on the same scale with all of the things that we have. So we are going to have, it's about a 80,000 square foot building, and we will have inside, I need people to know that, inside, so that you can do day or night. It doesn't matter if it's day or night outside because we can just turn the lights on or off. It's going to be climate controlled. We are going to have a street that runs through that has the ability you can put fire apparatus in there. It's intentionally designed so that it's large enough, so that we have big enough scale.
It's streetscape.
Large streetscape. And people may think of this, people who know a little bit about public safety may say, oh, it's kind of a Hogan's Alley. It's not a Hogan's Alley. Hogan's Alley is kind of like a stage. Mm-hmm. And what we have is literal buildings built inside of a huge warehouse type space that function exactly as a K-12 pod so that we can do active shooter response. We can not just do active shooter for law enforcement, but we can bring Wake County personnel or any school personnel. They can do school resource officer training. You can do training for your faculty and staff. We have a townhome. We have a retail space that's going to allow us to move the rooms. We can actually pull up, get out of the cars, run in, and have any type of scene we want.
Yeah, take a fire truck in there.
Yes, we can do car accidents. We can do hazmat. We can do mass casualty. We have a detention pod. We have a jail pod. We have a scat room. We are going to have simulation there. What I'm really excited about too, having our driving pad and the way that we have it configured, you can drive in to the streetscape from the driving pad or vice versa. So it allows us to really literally simulate. And with simulate, we'll use force on force and things like that. So you'll have a lot of realistic things added to that. But we can literally simulate a jump and run scenario. You're chasing somebody, they go in, they get out and they run into a townhouse that's occupied. They run into a store that has people in it. They run down an alley and you lose them. We have that capability to do that. And in the reverse, you're going to try to apprehend somebody, they get in their car and they take off on you. Now you're in pursuit driving. So we're able to really put together a training evolution that is basic all the way through extremely advanced, extremely high level, skilled, detailed level training where you can focus on the overview or you can focus on really specific niches at this training center. We're going to have simulation available to us where we're going to be able to train incorporating virtual reality and those types of cutting edge things. We actually have that designed so that we can include that in the training evolution. Okay, you're going you're going to have to chase this person. They're going to go into this room, and you go into that room, and there's a virtual reality system. And now we've got a predetermined scenario set up, and now you have to respond to that. And even though it's slightly different than what it would be like in the real world, it gets the research indicates you get the same kind of training value as if you actually did it in real life, and then you can learn what
you're going to have the adrenaline going in that setting. Even though you know it's not real, you still have this so real like. It's
yes.
What that's about.
And we're going to build a fire training ground there. Can I say that?
Yeah.
So excited about that. And it's going to be wonderful because currently there's not a lot of spaces in Wake County where the fire service can pull hoses and flow water, as they say, and we can light stuff on fire and put it out. And that's incredible. Yes, it's incredible. We're really looking forward to being able to have that space, and we want to have it where it's not just the minimum of what you need, but we're really looking at what's happening in Wake County, what's happening in the news, and how can we get you out front of that.
And again, we want to thank the residents of Wake County for making this possible here at Wake Tech, but making it possible for our public safety community through Wake Tech with their support of the bonds for Wake Tech. Jamie, I was thinking about the importance of this facility. I mean, we've been planning it for years and thinking about it for years, but just recently we've seen the tragic shooting in Texas, which, to me made me think that's the kind of situation that this facility is designed for. Not that, you're going to be able to solve everything through a facility. I don't mean that, but being able to provide simulations and scenarios that perhaps, God forbid anything like that ever happened in our community, perhaps then the individuals who would respond have been through a reenactment, a simulation that will help them more to deal with such a difficult situation.
Yes, and I want to say, we are really fortunate in Wake County and with this facility and with Wake Tech. You give me so much room to just move in this space to take care of our partners, and I appreciate that so tremendously. But when people think about training, like let's say active shooter training, a lot of times people think, oh, well, you're going to have a scenario where you go into a classroom and someone has hostages. And that may be true. And without, getting into specifics, because I haven't looked at the tremendous debrief of the Texas scenario, but, just for sake of conversation, there's so much more to that. What if they're barricaded? How do you get in there? What if they're barricaded in a closet that doesn't have any windows? How do you get in there? Well, we have taken a large amount of detail with this building to try to design what functions exactly as a K-12 pod, what functions exactly as a townhome, so that we can add those scenarios in there and say, okay, now how do you get in the storage room between these two classrooms?
You're not telling someone, pretend like,
exactly,
because it is set up to be that.
Great, now do it.
Right.
Now how do you get in there?
Right.
And that is something that is going to be incredibly valuable. And our teams, our stakeholders, our groups, our public safety teams here, we get calls from all over the place who say, we've even had situations where they're like, hey, we're getting ready to go hit a house.
Yeah.
Can we design your room that what we know of this house and do a dry run before we go do this? We have a courtroom. We have agencies. We train DAs, we train new agents, we train federally. Sometimes some federal agencies will contact us and say, we're getting ready to have a really big trial and we want to run a mock. Can we use your courtroom? Absolutely. And those are the things that I think add value that people never see.
Yeah.
We operate behind the scenes, and maybe nobody got hurt because they were able to come here and practice first.
Yeah.
Or maybe a bad guy went away because they practiced first.
Yeah, it is. That's the thing about Wake Tech is people know how big it is, how much we do, but they really don't know all that we do. And we are the public safety college, certainly for this reason.
We are.
So, Wake Tech, we've had this history now. We have this really exciting future. One of the things we say at Wake Tech is lead the way. One of the ways Wake Tech has led the way is in thinking about policing. And I know, in recent years, there's been a lot more conversation with the George Floyd murder that put that a lot into focus. And Wake Tech, for our state system was very involved. And you've been very involved in others in helping us make sure that with, as we talk about policing, which is so near and dear to you as a law enforcement officer, I know how folks who are educated at Wake Tech, respond in our community is very important. And talk about how Wake Tech has led that way to make sure that, our police are prepared in our community today in a time when people have, for different reasons, been more concerned about community policing.
We spend a lot of time here at Wake Tech. So we get calls from even the system office will call us sometimes and say, hey, we have this initiative. We know you guys are already looking at it. Can you help us get this out? Can you help us get this out broadly? And we did that with de-escalation, train the trainer.
Yeah.
We did that with...
That was a big... Wake Tech really led a lot of that, the de-escalation training.
And we did that with impartial policing, train the trainer. So we're creating trainers who can go carry this out in their agencies and through the state. And we also work with... we're working with Department of Justice on rewriting the BLET curriculum completely, and we're going to be a pilot school for that. And I'm so proud to be able to do that. We're doing curriculum review, and we're looking at it through a lens of, is this sound academically? Is this what people need? Is this what we're hearing? Do we see any potential failure points here? And what do our communities want? And I also try to interface, and our team does, with the community, not just our public safety community, but it's a balance, because you want to try to infuse what your community wants and educate your community and help your community know what public safety does. But then you also want your public safety partners to know that you're here for them, and it's not one or the other.
I'm smiling because I'm recalling something you were telling me you were working on with the barbering school, which I thought was really barbering college. Was
yes,
it was very cool. What was that?
Yes, so we had a situation with a barbering student that came up where it actually was me and this barbering student, and we had a little bit of an unpleasant exchange. I hate that, but it happens. And I thought, that's not normal. Something here is off. What's the deal? So I called the student, and I talked to him, and I said, I feel like I want to repair this a little bit, because I think the way that you spoke to me is not a normal response for what I said to you, and can we talk about it? And he said, there's a lot happening right now, and we're in this building with public safety all the time, and we've got a range, and we see people with guns, and that's unnerving. And I thought, I never considered that. I never looked at it that way. Yeah. And so I said, I think there's an opportunity here. Yeah. And across the state and across the nation, you hear about barbershop talks, because barbershops are absolutely a key part of any neighborhood, and a lot happens there. And I think barbers are incredible and amazing, and I'm so glad that we have a barber school here. But I went to the barbering program, and I said, do we have an opportunity here where we could do, just locally, just look at our circle of influence, could we start having campus conversations and talks in our barbering school with people that are already here in public safety, and let's use that as a building rapport. And I think it's hard to discriminate up close. It's hard to hate up close. But it's really easy when you don't understand the perspective that someone else is coming from, or you don't know anyone there. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could bring officers in and we could talk about what our campus looks like here, but then we could expand that conversation
through the barbershops.
Through the barbershops, yes, and through our barbering students. Yeah. And that has been well received, and they've been fantastic. Our barbering team is wonderful. Our barbering students are wonderful, and we have been able to open a dialogue right here, that previously I think was untapped, because we're focused about let's go out in the community and do things, but thinking we have community here, and we can use that here too.
Well, I love that idea and thinking about you and William and folks coming together on something like that, because my grandfather was a barber. He owned a barber shop in a small town, and it was more than the barber shop. It was more than cutting hair. It was the community place where folks were. So you recognize that, and that's what makes you unique, is the leadership, the insight, it's the experience, it's the community. You are unique, but you also are uniquely Wake Tech, because you're rooted in our community, you're rooted in the public safety community, but you see out towards the future in terms of what more we can do for our community to provide opportunity and to make our community better. So Jamie, thank you so much for your leadership, for being part of Wake Tech and leading all our public safety efforts as our provost here at our public safety campus and for public safety programs. We're very fortunate to have you here, and I know you feel, I can see you smiling, so I'll say it for you. I know you feel very fortunate and privileged to be here just like I do. It's a special, special place and role to have when you're able to be around so many inspiring students, and particularly an inspiring public safety community that just does so much to make our community what it is. So we're privileged and fortunate to work with our fire service, our law enforcement, our emergency rescue, all the folks that we're privileged to be in contact with through Wake Tech. So thank you for your leadership and for being part of this podcast today.
Thank you. And
to all our listeners, thank you for joining us today on the We Are Wake Tech podcast. Thank you for listening and for tuning in, and tune in next month for our next episode. The We Are Wake Tech podcast is available through all podcast sources, Apple, Spotify. So tell others about the We Are Wake Tech podcast, learn more about Wake Tech, and join us next month.
Hi, I'm Lori Clowers with the latest Wake Tech news. Applications are currently being accepted for fall semester. A lot of great plans are in the works on Wake Tech's 9 campuses and training centers. Get involved in student activities, enjoy new dining options, and cheer on the Wake Tech Eagles at a game. Need help? Our new care center will help connect you with any resources you may need. You may have heard that tuition is free for this year's high school graduates, and there are plenty of financial aid opportunities for everyone else. So check us out. Come to an Eagle Enrollment Day or take a campus tour. Visit explore.waketech.edu. Why enroll? A new study by the research firm EMSI Burning Glass shows that Wake Tech graduates will earn nearly $10,000 more per year than if they only had a high school diploma. A new degree program may be of interest to you. Wake Tech is launching a new paralegal associate degree this fall. Paralegals are in high demand, and the number of open positions is expected to continue to grow. You can find more information on our website. Wake Tech has tripled the number of apprentices in its Wake Works apprenticeship program. The program addresses Wake County's shortage of technical workers while giving students an opportunity to earn while they learn. For more details, visit apprenticeship.waketech.edu. 21 new law enforcement cadets are ready to protect and serve. Wake Tech held a graduation ceremony for the basic law enforcement training program earlier this month. The new Dean of Public Safety is John Gregory, a 30-year law enforcement veteran. Wake Tech is teaming up with Wake County to increase diversity in fire services. A new recruitment campaign offers a full salary and benefits for recruits while they attend the 38-week Fire Training Academy at no cost. Finally, congratulations to 18 Wake Tech graduates who've been selected as Goodnight Transfer Scholars at NC State University. The prestigious Goodnight Scholarship is valued at $22,000 per year for up to 3 years. And that's the latest Wake Tech news.
My name is Zachary Lang, and I am the Sustainability and Transportation Coordinator here at Wake Tech. So right now is a great time to partake in our Wake Tech Green Trek program, whether you're just looking to be more sustainable or you're tired of paying over $4.70 in gas. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the alternative transportation options we have available here at Wake Tech, and I'm going to give you some tools and tips on how to use them. At Wake Tech, we're really lucky to be serviced by public transport at every single one of our campuses besides Western Wake campus. Taking the bus is a great option, and right now it's made even better that all of the public buses in the region are fare free. When taking a bus, I highly suggest downloading the TransLock app. This app allows you to see the buses in real time and tells you what time those buses are going to be making it to each station. This can really help you plan when you need to be at the bus stop. Another great thing that we have here at Wake Tech is that we actually have an express route that goes directly from Moore Square Station to our Southern Wake campus, and it's called the 40X. Carpooling can be a great way to save money on your commute. When we think about carpooling, a lot of us think about dropping children off at a school. However, carpooling is really when you go from one destination to another with 2 or more people in a car. And by doing this, you can save money on the commute, you can meet and hang out with friends, and you can be more sustainable. When carpooling, Wake Tech offers this really great program called Share the Ride NC. Share the Ride NC is available online or through an app, and it allows you to find others who have similar commutes to you. The way that it works is that you would register online, then you would put in your commute, and it would show you all the people in the area that have a similar commute to you, and it would allow you to choose who you want to reach out to commute with. If you're interested in what you heard about today, please go to our website and just search Green Trek at Wake Tech, or you can follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I hope to see you on one of our alternative transportation options here at Wake Tech sometime soon.
Thank you for listening to the We Are Wake Tech podcast. Join us next month for more insightful conversations about the programs and people of Wake Tech and how the college changes lives every day. Be sure to subscribe to your favorite podcast app to have each episode delivered right to your computer or mobile device. For more, find us at podcast.waketech.edu. To learn more about Wake Tech's exceptional educational opportunities, visit waketech.edu.